Pocahontas.
Entwined in the tangled roots of American myth and colonial cringe, we find Pocahontas, Matawaka, if we're being honest. Her story carries the scent of Virginia tobacco, European arrogance, and the damp breath of a continent caught between freedom and coercion. Reducing her to a Disney princess is laughable. Calling her a pawn, too easy. Pocahontas was more like a bridge made of splinters, fragile, painful, and achingly human. She wasn't the smiling, doe-eyed diplomat sold to you in your elementary school textbooks. She was a young Algonquian woman trapped in the teeth of a world cracking apart. The English settlers were starving because farming without corporate subsidies from the Virginia Company wasn't part of their business plan. Meanwhile, the Powhatan Confederacy weighed diplomacy against muskets, wondering if these pale newcomers could be managed or exploited. And right there in the middle, trying to steer a canoe of agency between survival and surrender, was Pocahontas. If there's a dream in this mess, it's buried in the ashes of Jamestown. Picture Pocahontas smuggling corn to half-dead settlers during the brutal winter of 1609 to 1610, the starving time when people chewed on shoe leather, and maybe worse. Her actions weren't charity. They were calculated exchanges wrapped in diplomacy. The English got food. Her people got a sliver of leverage. In 1614, she married John Rolfe. Not for love, let's drop that fairy tale. Rolfe was an ambitious capitalist chasing tobacco profits and a publicity boost back in England. Pocahontas? She saw the angles. The marriage bought a fragile peace, a PR-friendly ceasefire known as the Peace of Pocahontas. For a brief moment, mutual benefit outpaced mutual destruction. And then came the shitstorm. In 1613, the English kidnapped her. Not as military strategy, but out of pure desperation. They ransomed her for weapons and food like she was part of a colonial Costco deal. When negotiations stalled, they tried something worse, erasing her. Baptized as Rebecca, paraded through England like a Puritan trophy bride, she became a living brochure for the Virginia Company. Not Matawaka, not even Pocahontas, just proof that even savages could be scrubbed into civility. Her image was repackaged and sold. The civilized savage narrative wasn't history, it was marketing. Assimilation became propaganda. Her identity was trampled beneath layers of English self-congratulation. So let's cut through the crap. Pocahontas' story isn't a tidy moral fable, it's a beautifully brutal mess. It asks hard questions. Can cultural exchange exist without violence? Can we honor someone like Pocahontas without burying her in martyrdom or noble savage tropes? She died in 1617 at just 21. Disease, brought by the same people who saved her, killed her. A tragic mic drop on the myth of colonial benevolence. But her life, as exploited and manipulated as it was, still pulses with something real. A warning, a question, a call to empathy. Pocahontas wasn't a saint. She wasn't a pawn. She was a person making choices in a world that offered damn few. We do her no honor by flattening her story. We honor her by wrestling with it, its contradictions, its discomforts, its truths. That's the real legacy, the tension between freedom and force, the thin line between heroism and survival, the reminder that voluntary exchange only works when backed by respect, not muskets. So, let's stop asking whether she was a princess or a prop. Let's ask what her story says about us, and whether we're finally ready to hear it.
You've just endured a thrilling snippet of the RPTM podcast. We sincerely hope our comedic genius left you in stitches, and of course, we're crossing our fingers that we've also brought a tear or two to your eye. And hold on to your hats, because if your brain cells are still intact after this roller coaster, consider gracing us with a sacred thumbs up. If that's not enough, give that subscribe button a whack. We wouldn't want you to miss out on the riveting sagas we've lined up.